Well, hello. Hi there. Welcome back to another episode of Powering Empathy, where we talk about the power of compassion, personal growth, and professional success. And once again, we have Mr. Brian Marcum over there. How's it
Hello,
going, Brian?
everybody. Hello, Mr. Walker. How you doing?
Good, good. Thanks
Yeah.
for asking. And I am Mr. Walker. Thank you.
Yes.
Mike, if you will.
Michael.
Thanks for joining us.
Is
We're
it
glad you're
Michael
here.
if you're in trouble?
No, but since you asked, I'm going to tell you. Michael by birth, Michael at my mother's house, Mike at my grandmother's house, because my father is also a Michael, and at his mother's house, he's Michael and I'm Mike. So it kind of flip-flops.
I could not keep that straight.
So for that reason, much of my life, I've been like, sure. Either one.
Do you have a personal preference between the two?
Not really, and most of the time people call me Walker now, so
Yes.
what are you going to do?
It's like a zombie.
No, I'm the oldest of four kids, so
Yeah.
I get to wear the last name as the first.
That's right.
I guess that's
right.
how it goes.
That's right. Yeah. So how you been?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
Pretty good. Pretty busy, but pretty good. How about you?
Yeah. I'll let you have a shameless plug here for a second.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. You're opening up your band. What's the name of your band again?
the Summit.
The Summit.
Yes,
And the Summit is playing this weekend.
we are. We are indeed.
Where are you playing?
We are playing down in Danville, Kentucky. I don't remember the name of the venue. Norton Arts Center, I think. It's at the college down there.
Yeah,
And we're open up for a little old band from Texas that they call ZZ Top.
ZZ Top.
Yeah, buddy.
Opening up for ZZ Top. And your beard isn't even there yet.
I just trimmed it down, actually.
Did you?
Yeah.
Mine would be all gray. I would look like
Yeah.
Santa Claus.
Well, that's all right. Kids love them.
Yeah. What are we talking about today?
So, we're getting near the end of the year,
Yeah.
and people are talking about goals as well as like getting all their current goals done and complete. And we work in the technology space, and it's lots of projects and
Yes.
whatnot. So, I figured we'd talk a little bit about how to make sure that you get those projects done on time and under budget.
Right.
And one of the ways you can do that is by using consultants for open positions or ebb and flow needs of the business, that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I thought maybe we'd talk a little bit about the pros and cons of using consultants in your department or your company.
Yeah. Project
sound?
deadlines. And IT is definitely an interesting department in most organizations because they do utilize contractors or consultants quite a bit. And I remember I can't remember what it was, someone from outside the industry. They're like, why would you use a contractor when you can just hire a full-time employee and quote unquote save money? But the reality is it's not that simple. And so I'll jump into it. Is the IT department, their customers are the rest of the organization. Typically, sometimes IT departments will also have a responsibility to the end customer if they're selling a product that has some sort of technology piece to it, internet, apps, back support, all that stuff. But a lot of it is internal support. So your customers are the vice president of sales, the vice president of manufacturing, the vice president or COO, chief operating officer, all the different department heads throughout your organization. That is the CIOs, chief information officers, customers.
Right.
So when building out a plan and a budget for the year, it's always difficult to figure out what that cost structure is and how many full-time employees will the IT department to handle the ebbs and flows of the demand of projects. So, for instance, if I'm a VP of sales, I want to rebuild my CRM. I have an in-house CRM that's good, but it's not great. I want to rebuild it. I call the IT department. They say this project is going to cost you $500,000, and okay, go do it. Well, now I got to either go hire these people in to build that application, or I have to use contractors. And the beauty of contractors is when that project gets done, then I can let those contractors go. So when is it good? I have several reasons why it's good to have contractors and why it's good to have full-time employees. The first thing is cost efficiency. So if you have short-term demands, if you have high technology demands, contractors, you don't have to worry about PTO, health insurance, dental, vision, all the different benefits that add up to 30-40% of the cost of a full-time employee, sometimes 50% of the cost of an employee for the big companies. The next one I've already hit on was flexibility and scalability. I may have a demand now, but 3 months from now, I may not, or 6 months from now, I may not have that demand. So am I going to go hire 5 full-time employees to finish this project and then fire them in 6 months? No, because I have human resources to deal with. I have labor laws to deal with. I have costs associated with retraining and redeveloping people in organizations. So consultants are hired guns. They know that. And then the third reason I would say is specialty of technologies or specialty of industry. So I may have a requirement to work on an Angular Node JS skill set to develop an application, and I only need that skill set, that hardcore. I don't have anybody in-house that has that skill set. So I'm going to go hire that hired gun for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and then I'm going to have them work on it. And oftentimes the consultants are the ones with the highest technology skill sets to be able to handle that. And then
Specialized.
Yeah, you're specialized because this is a guru in their particular skill set. Sometimes it's a guru in an industry or a particular niche of a service offering of customers.
Sure.
And then last is the risk, reducing risk and liability. I mean, Michael, you've come from the insurance space years ago.
Yeah, in another life. Yeah.
In another life. But you remember, there's a lot of liability to full-time employees. There's a lot of insurance requirements. And a lot, people can pop off with HR lawsuits and so forth very fast. With consultants, it's agreed upon at the very beginning to do that. So, yeah. So those are some of the reasons why I believe every IT organization should have a proper blend of consultants and full-time employees.
So it's a good segue. What do you think is a healthy blend between full-time employees and consultants? And is it going to vary by industry, size of company, that sort of thing? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I would say that is a loaded question because every IT organization is different.
That's my specialty, by the way.
Yeah, it depends, I should say. That's what most consultants say. It depends.
Of course.
I would say it depends on what your core functions of your IT organization is. So you got to, as an IT hiring manager, you got to figure out what are my core functions? What are the operations of the IT department that I have to do on a regular basis? And those particular functions are repetitive and they take a long time. So I would say somewhere between 50 to 70% of your IT department should be full-time employees. And then the specialty side, the temporary needs, the projects that you have working on should make up anywhere from 30 to 50%. And it'll vary based upon industry, size of companies. So for instance, if you have, this grocery store chain that we have in the city here, they're a technology company that happens to sell groceries. They are on the cutting edge. They're constantly updating all of their technology. I walked to a store the other day. Every single freezer door was a computer monitor, and it had all the digital. It was so cool. But anyhow, they're always advancing. They're always developing. They're always creating new ingenuity. So they have a lot of contractors because they're on the front end cover. You go down to Western Southern or to an old insurance company or an old industry, whatever industry is old, and they have core processes at 70, 80% of just processing claims and doing this. They don't have the blend of contractors that other companies do. And then the size of company matters too as well. So for instance, we're a medium-sized company in Cincinnati, but we're spread out all over the country as far as our corporate headquarters people. So we don't need a dedicated team of IT people. Our entire IT support group is We outsource it. So
Right.
we eat our own dog food when it comes to contractors. You
It's
know,
delicious.
it's delicious. Eat your own dog food.
Yeah.
There's like a 2010 term right there. So yeah, that's, I would say 50 to 70% FTE and 30 to 50% contractor. It would be a good blend. And a couple of other pieces. Why would you want a full-time employee versus a contractor? I think that's a good question. And
Yeah.
I'm not looking to make every one of your needs to be a contract position. When you have a need for someone with a long-term commitment, if you have a skill set that you need in-house for a long period of time, you probably should go with a full-time employee. The second thing I would say is culture alignment. You know, if you're, and we're very, very, we're protective of our culture here at Golden Technology.
Yeah.
So we really want to, so bringing in a contract salesperson or contract recruiter would be like, we don't have that. We don't know that person well enough.
Yeah.
But if you need the project done and culture is important, but not the top thing, then go hit the contractor. The next thing is if you are into talent development, if you have a skill set that you're going to need for a while, you don't have it, but you can buy a younger experienced person and train them, you can develop that talent. And then the last thing I would say is around confidentiality and security. You know, if you're working on, you know, healthcare HIPAA stuff, if you're working, there's a reason why at our clients, the FTEs get invited to the big boy and girl table, and contractors sit at the little kid table for Thanksgiving.
Right.
And so because of that security and that confidentiality.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I would go with FTEs. And yeah.
Makes sense. So in a related matter,
Yeah.
speaking of consultants, what do you think are some of the pros and cons of contract to hire?
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one because it is a double-edged sword. And I think contract to hire is an excellent way of try before you buy.
For both parties.
Yeah, for both parties. But if you're an IT hiring manager, I want you to listen to this because this is important. I want you, if you're going to do a contract to hire, you got to do it the right way. There's a lot of companies out there that will sell you a contract to hire, but they're going to sell you a contractor that's never going to go perm with you after 6 months or 9 months or whatever time period that you have before you fill that position. You have to check a few boxes with that consultant to make sure that they're really going to go full time with you, or else 6 months, 9 months, you'll have poured that time into that individual and they'll say no. And then you're stuck paying contractor hourly rates for the rest of the time, or you get rid of that person, you get ticked off at and that happens a lot.
And you got to start over.
You got to start over because managers don't do the following. First of all, immigration is a big piece. You need to have someone that has a permanent residency in the United States that you don't have to sponsor visas for, those kind of things. Maybe your corporation and your company will sponsor visas, and that's great. And you've got to make sure you know where that person is with their green card process and all that stuff, because there's a lot of times that they won't leave their old employer because they're this close to getting their green card or permanent residency. The other one is you look at their track record. If you see them, if they've been a contractor for 10 years, they're probably not going to join you. Right. You know, and they enjoy that lifestyle. They enjoy that game,
which isn't bad either. You know,
no,
some people want to be that, and that's fine.
Those are the hired guns that I was talking about, you know, previously around
the specialists.
Like you need those people for sure, but they're not going to go from making $120 an hour down to a $90,000 salary because they've been making $120 an hour for the past 10 years.
Yeah.
The ideal candidate, in my opinion, is someone that has a blend between working as a full-time employee in the past and as a consultant. So that blend in their background, they know they've gotten a taste of what being a consultant is like and a taste of what a full-time employee is like. And you want to hear certain words in the interview process. You want to hear things like, I'm just looking to kind of settle down. I've been a consultant for the past 3 years. maybe it's a life change. I have a child on the way. I'm getting married. I just finished my degree, whatever major life change that you have in there. We just bought a house, something that makes them feel more secure. And you want to feel confident in that interview process. You don't want to hear lip service. Yeah, I'll join full-time. Yeah, I'll join full-time. You got to find some of those artifacts in their history as to why they would. And that 6-month period, the beauty of it is you get to interview them and they get to interview you, and it's easier to say goodbye if they're not the right fit. Because let's face it, if you have a better than 60% success hire rate in hiring, you're in the top echelon of hiring in this world. So that 30, 20, 50% of bad hires that we make in this time, and it's not bad because they were a bad person, it just wasn't a fit, you negate all of those people. And then the last reason why that you would hire contract to hire, which is very important, is there's a skill set that's hard to find in the FTE world, full-time. There's a technology, whatever the a functional skill set, whatever it is, that person is hard to find, but you need them. And you can sit and hold off and interview and interview and interview and interview, and your projects get delayed, your projects get delayed, your projects get delayed because you're waiting for that perfect full-time employee. Well, some of those high-level skill sets, you're not going to find them right off the bat. You got to entice them from the consulting world. So it works out great when you're struggling to find the person direct. It works out great when you can get a feel that they're definitely going to go full-time on you. And it works out great when it's a skill set that you don't have in-house and you need to go bring it in-house. So that's my 3 reasons why you should do contract to hire.
Perfect. So I got one more for you. A little bit of a curveball, but you mentioned a few points here as we discuss these items. But what advice would you give to hiring managers out there when they're evaluating a potential staffing vendor or partner like Golden?
That's a great question. I think, first of all, relationships matter. Trust matters. You have to be able to trust your partners. And that's what we do here at Golden very well, is our marketing and sales department builds relationships. We're in the relationship business. We're not in the IT business. We want to make sure that we are treating these people as to how we would want to be treated, as if they're family to us. So that trust relationship, competency relationship in the vendor. Oftentimes you don't want just some head that's coming into your office that's going to take you to dinner and happy hour and be super social but not be real. You want that person to know IT and understand technology. And you also want an organization, the most important piece, the sales and the trust and relationship, those are important. I shouldn't say that's not most important, but the key factor is, can they deliver? Do they have a track record of delivering IT talent? Everybody in the world's going to say, yeah, I can fill that position. Yeah, I can fill that position. But go do some homework on the company. Find out if they really have. More times than not, when you engage with an IT consulting or projects or staffing vendor, you're getting one sales rep and maybe 1 or 2 recruiters. And that's it. So your position's getting searched by 2 kids spending time out there. So that, and this is a shameless plug here, but what we did was we developed an entire large delivery team before we went out and hired salespeople 10 years ago. We have 25, 35, probably 40 recruiters in our organization at this point. And they range from sourcers to recruiters to delivery leads. We have this tiered system to where when we work on a position for our clients, it's not just a recruiter or 2. It's more like 8 to 10 recruiters on each position. And that's why we've dominated in the companies that we've worked in. So there you go. Shameless plug. But look for a vendor that can...
Plug away.
Look for a vendor that can deliver. Look for a vendor that you can, that you have rapport with. Do I know you? Do I like you? Can I spend time with you? Can I trust you? Trust is huge. And just has a track record of success. So
I like it.
There you go.
I like it a lot.
Yep.
Well, hey, I think that's a good spot to wrap for the day. So I appreciate it. I'm going to remind you all out there, thanks for joining us. We'll be same time, same channel next week. But this has been Empowering Empathy, and this is the podcast where we talk about the power of compassion, personal growth, and professional success. You got Mike, you got Brian, and we'll see you next time, but we're getting out of here.
Thanks, Michael. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. See y'all.